allegiances are easily turned. I'm a turncloak, where she's shouting "Go EU" in the chat. Well, I understand it, as I'm sure she will also understand when I inevitably also betray APAC at the soonest possible opportunity and start supporting EU again as well. But based on our performances so far, or EU's performances so far, you know, even aside from your own vested interest, if you're an APAC player wanting to get through to the finals, the play has just been so sick. I really enjoy watching them play. And I'm also, I think, going to enjoy Mushroom Head Gabby. I'm not exactly sure what to call this look.
Or Hat Jam? Is that what
Hat
it right
Jam.
now? I don't
We'll go with that, yeah.
It's very interesting, though, as we see the picks, and Team China and Zhao Wang have gone for the starting the Quest Shaman once again, and EU have chosen to start Gabby and go for that Pirate Warrior. So I am pretty interested to see how this one pans out. Do you think this is a good outcome for Team EU, or do you think the Shaman's just going to get it done?
I would definitely favour China going in. I've, made no secret of the fact that I do think that Shaman is good into Pirate Warrior, good into pretty much every deck, as I've said a few times in this remaining tournament after all the top tier decks have been banned out. However, for Gabby, if he can get down a more rapid quest progression than his opponent, definitely doesn't guarantee him the win like in some decks, but it puts him in a good spot. He should be able to, from there, go nice and aggressive. If there's no Canal Sloggers to heal back up, you can very often just get there with a timely Mr. Smite at the end of the game to close things out. Especially if you're dealing plenty of damage in the intervening turns, or intermediate turns, whatever it may be, which Gabby absolutely can do.
And it is another matchup here where that Canal Slogger in Zhao Wang's hand might come in clutch as well. Lines very nice up into Sword Eater as well. And just the fact that he can regain some of this potential early aggression from Gabby could be huge and just buy him enough time to stabilize. But I do generally agree, when I've run into Pirate Warrior with this Shaman deck, I felt pretty comfortable because you generally can get hold of even some spell damage if needed to clear off a lot of these pirates.
Now a little annoying for Gabby because he quite clearly wants to just carry on with 2, 3, 4, 5, but it just trades so poorly. And the Cannoneer is such a standout pirate in this deck. It can do what no other card can in allowing you to clear off Canal Slogger once it's trade. Obviously, the novice zappers even potentially take out a multicaster later on in the game as well. And so I wouldn't be too surprised to just see the Fogsail Freebooter come down instead.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, right? And it's not as if there's really any Shaman spells that only deal 2, right? So especially when there's spell damage on board, so it's not as if this is more susceptible to other removal than the 3/3 would be. So I think I'm with you, actually. I think the rest of the curve looks fine. But Gabby's going to choose to actually hero power. This is one outcome I didn't expect at all.
It is surprising, isn't it? It obviously means that his quest can't be completed by Sword Eater next turn, but it could theoretically be completed by other means. But I guess completing quest is not necessarily that important quite yet, because drawing a weapon when he already has the sword from Sword Eater is okay. It was not especially necessary. He doesn't need to get that weapon to start swinging. And so by just going Sword Eater into, you would have to imagine Cannoneer and Fogsail Freebooter, both on turn 5 to get double weapon synergy. Does allow him a lot of board swing potential. So it's not what I was expecting, but I can certainly see the merits.
Yeah, that's actually a lot of cannons flying all over the show, that, right? Like, that is just a lot of damage out of nowhere. So actually, when you look at the setup, although it's seemingly very different from what you'd expect from an aggro deck, it does start to make sense, because as you can see, this isn't just a straight up aggro deck. It's running Rancor in it for a start. The quest in itself, like, it's not like you're always expecting the quest to be down by like turn 6, you know what I mean? It can be done, obviously, but it's not that often. It's more looking towards turn 7 onwards for that Rokara. So I do really like the way Gabby's approaching this. Still has some card draw with the Ogre in hand as well. More weapons with that second Sword Eater. So it's not looking too bad on his side. But for Zhao Wang, we can see this now double Canal Slogger, which is a huge deal. A little bit unfortunate, actually, that he just can't quite get the mana to drop one now, because again, I think this interaction is very strong, where you can just kill off this with no problem, and the Canal Slug is still, healthy enough to be a threat for Gabby.
He is only on 1 out of 3, right? Because if he's on 2 out of 3, then he could go for coin. No, he is a 2 out of 3. Okay, so we could have gone coin novice and sorry, not novice engineer. I keep calling it that. Coin novice zapper plus then the Canal Slugger afterwards, right? Because it would have then given him 5 mana total on that turn.
Sure.
Instead, he wants to go coin hero power alongside the Feral Spirit, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with. It's close, isn't it? Because if he goes for the Canal Slugger, he's leaving himself with an unprotected 6/2 on the board that can then just be swung away with the weapon. Whereas this spends 2 mana on a hero power, which is never an especially efficient play. So both came with downsides, but like you say, the Canal Slugger was just kind of good there.
Yeah, those were a little bit awkward with just the health totals of these wolves, right? It's not like Gabby can really swing in first and then try and get some shots off as well. He'd have to alter this himself. But still, I do think the 2 into the 2/3 drops are actually not 2/3 drops. The 2 drop and the 3 drop, there we go, before people get confused, still look pretty good. He could instead go Shiver to kill off the multicaster and then just follow up, swing and then follow up with another Sword Eater. That wouldn't be a bad shout at all, giving 2 very bulky minions on board here for Gabby.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Next turn, you can just play the 2 pirates, get yourself the completion on the cannons firing, as you said, start slinging some cannonballs all over the place, and then the turn after, if you can get yourself 1 cheap pirate, you can get Rakara in hand as well, which is where things really start turning around. Xiao Wang does have plenty of overload cards, so he can get himself closer to that 3/3 and eventually brew can, but he's incredibly low on value along the way, and so even if he can get that brew can down, whether or not it wins him the game is a different question entirely.
Yeah, it is the type of hand where you're just hoping the stuff you have, as you said, the great sort of minion base there, is enough to buy you time to draw some more value, right? Because outside of that, this looks very winnable for Gabby if Xiao Wang gets a few more minions. But I will say, there probably aren't even that many more minions left in the deck right now. I feel like he's been super minion heavy, right, so far. Oh, extra pirate to slip in as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, here for Gabby, this turn and this game at the moment feels like it just plays itself. You fire the cannons, you see what it hits, you fire the Foxtail freebooter or whatever misses, you swing face, there you go, both the minions just dead anyway. And then next turn, if he gets himself a pirate that costs 2 or less, he can play Rakara as well as getting it in his hand. But okay, he doesn't want to go for the potential upside of getting that. He's instead holding back a little bit, not playing into Perpetual Flame, which is less powerful potentially, but a little bit more stable of a play from Gabby that guarantees himself a good target for this 2 damage.
Exactly, I like it a lot because yes, you can argue that, well, it would be an extra minion on board as well, but Shaman does have access to a lot of removal. There is the natural landslide that their Team China play as well, so just 2 random damage to face, I don't think he's going to win Gabby this game. I think it's more about getting these pirate combos going, getting Rakara down at a relevant point, and the relevant point doesn't always mean you just mindlessly rush it, right? It means that you just want to make it as powerful a play as you can probably be. But now the Anchorman plus the 2 damage here can get a nice job done, right? Just the trade, draw, and pick off the Zapper.
I wonder if Gabby will be kicking himself here because, again, like I said, his play had real upside. The punish is exactly this draw where he gets the 2 mana pirate off the top. But even then, I think he's still fine, right? It's not like he's just passing the turn here instead of playing a 7/7. He's still getting an equal amount of, or almost equal amount of attack on board. And then next turn, Rakara, re-equip the pirates, keep on swinging, and force Xiao Wang to hit some value because this at the moment is just absolutely dead again.
what's absolutely huge as well, Gabby has both sides of his plan. He's done a fairly aggressive opening, or a fairly strong opening, I guess. He's got Rukara, but now he has Barov and Rancor too. So if Xiao Wang was to make desperation plays or pop off somehow with multiple blooms and callings and stuff like that, well, you could just say, okay, good play. Here's your board. It's gone, deleted. And then Rukara comes in with the sort of infinite value. So Gabby's like ticking all boxes right now.
He is, but now I think with those 2 Overload cards played, Xiao Wang himself is but 1 Overload card away from playing Brucan, and he should also be at 6 mana, which means that with Bloom Brucan into the charged call, he can play 2 10-drops here to counteract this push from Gabby, which means we have a game of Hearthstone on our hands. This is going to be incredibly close, and it all comes down to whether or not Xiao Wang can hit the powerhouses here. We need taunts and we need rabbits.
Yeah, either... Oh, okay. That was perfect. That was the exact combination, because I think anything less than that exact combination would have still been easily Gabby could have dealt with it, no problem.
Oh, look at that bulwark. Like, whether or not Gabby knows it, that's potentially just keeping him alive on this turn, because Xiao Wang can attack for 14 plus the 6 from the Serpent Shrine as well, which is 20 damage. Like a lightning bolt off the top would have just ended the game.
And most importantly, he can just... Oh, this is nice, right?
Wow.
He needs like 4 sets of damage, right? So this is a little bit risky, so to speak, but I think there's not that many outcomes with 3 cards in hand for Xiao Wang that he dies here, and then he's likely to just get a bigger Barov. Look at this.
Oh, look at the base! Xiao Wang is falling for it so hard.
Gabby, a little bit upset, I imagine, that it's the elemental again, because the death rattle's really what he wanted to dodge, but still, this has got to be a solid outcome, really, for Gabby here.
So clever. As soon as he saw that bulwark, he realized, right, I don't have to do a gosh dang thing. I'm just chilling here, not faffing around with any kind of expenditure that's not necessary, and then just setting up for the clear next turn. Oh, he gets a bulwark again!
Okay,
I'm not
he can
the
swing.
only one. It does happen to other people.
So now surely he does the Barov turn, right? Surely. There's 4 attacks on board, and the odds of Xiao Wang not having a way to just poke 1, right, means that he could take an unnecessary 12 damage. But look at that, 18 armor, board, not cleared, but close.
And then he's even swinging as well with the bulwark. I love it.
You always push the 1. And the big deal here is, even with Wind Fury, the armor that Gabby gained, yes, will be more or less gone, but it's not like Gabby's on 3 normal health and 18 armor, right? He's still got 24 after that Wind Fury comes out.
Pretty sure that's a 7-drop, the token that comes off of the Scrapyard Colossus. And so we can obviously take a VT while the bulwark is up, and then revolve into another random 7 cost. Seems pretty good.
Yep. Not going to go for the Serpent Shrine. Obviously, it would arguably waste the damage for the Serpent Shrine, but it would have been 2 more minions. I guess you can still go for it now. I guess it doesn't really matter, because it just revolves into different 3-drops, right? But he is holding. Oh, was that Gorehowl?
Oh!
Oh my, and the hit. And Shiver to kill.
What?
Okay. Remember the other day when I was like, I just get unlucky facing Pirate Warrior?
Yeah.
I feel like I've been queuing against Gabby and on these alternate accounts or something, because this is exactly what happens to me. Bulwark, Gorehowl, good cannon hits, got Shiver to clear off the Baron. And now Xiao Wang. Okay.
Oh my god!
Okay.
No way! How is this so back and forth?
So Chain.
That's a clear on 2 of them.
Oh, the value!
That's Phil!
Oh
Oh my
charge
goodness! You're not playing any of
Vivid?
these probably anyway. Yeah, take the Vivid just because it's good next turn. You're playing
Yeah.
that charged call
Yeah.
100%.
Yep. And also, weirdly enough, if Zhao Wang decides he's not happy with what he got, he can actually revolve.
True. Deathwing
Okay,
and a
he
Taunt.
is happy with what he got. Yep.
Ecstatic, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's quite a lot
Not
of
bad.
cannonballs.
Yeah.
Oh, those were decent outcomes as well.
But now
And
Wind
however-
Fury for 24, another 7, and then double Serpent Shrine. That has to be lethal, right?
24,
he have
31, 37. You can get another
Two-
4. You can get up to 41. Yeah. Or is that one off then at that point?
20. Oh, he's on 42, right?
It's at 42. So you can do 24, 31 with both the minions.
Then +4 with Reflection.
Right. Which is 35. And then up to 41 with the
Oh, wait,
portal
was
as
something.
well.
Wait, hang on. He had that Note Taker, right? In his hand
Right.
at the beginning of the turn. Could he have, like, Note Taker Wind Fury on the 7/7
Oh,
and the
maybe.
12/12? Like, either way, while we're working out the different ways that Zhao Wang could have got lethal there, the Vivid Spore still gets the job done, right? So that's fine. Zhao Wang with the victory there. That was a very nutty game. Like, Gabby, I think, piloted really well, did have some very strong outcomes, of course, with those back-to-back bulwarks into Gorehowl for an absolute insane amount of damage. But this turn from Zhao Wang was absolutely huge. Fireheart swinging in to save the day, which she often does, right? This is the card, especially post-Brakan, where things can get truly insane. And that's the exact moment he needed it. 10 mana, draws Fireheart, and just has all the value he could ever want.
It's exactly right, but as strong as it was for Gabby, it was just so well proportioned in terms of his resources by Xiao Wang, being able to go for setting up for the perfect Brucan plus charged call all in the same turn on that one crucial turn. Even though he fell into the trap, if you want to call it that, of going for overextending into that Barrel clear, which I think was really smart by Gabby to give him even a glimmer of hope in the matchup. In the end, the draw's just too strong. Very well played by Xiao Wang. And I'm hesitant to even call him lucky for getting that Instructor Fireheart at the end. Obviously, it was pretty lucky, but Gabby was not without luck along the way as well, getting some fantastic weapons and pirates. Double Bulwark into a Gorehowl is just unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, both players did very powerful things that game, right? It's just one player did slightly more powerful things because, like, for example, there was the 3 charge calls across that whole game, right? With the perfect outcomes each time was there, but obviously Gabby had the great outcomes from the weapon and everything. So a pretty crazy game, honestly, for that one. That's a huge deal. And China is starting to fight back. And remember, China really just need to do everything possible to gain points here to feel any form of safety going forward. We are just going to step away for just a second while we get ready for game number 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We are back and good to go with game number 2 of this second and final series of Constructed for the day. And as we've discussed at length, Derek, this seems to be the only answer to Elemental Shaman a lot of the time, which is queue your own Elemental Shaman, Quest Shaman. Is just queue your own Quest Shaman and hope you can outplay. And, Bunny Hopper, definitely a very strong competitor on specifically this deck as well. So if anyone can do it, he can. But still, Zhao Wang already one game up with this. So looking good for both players here so far.
Very much so. I trust Bunny Hopper more than any other in this matchup. Bit of a tough mulligan for him. I'm toying with the idea of keeping Primordial Studies because once again, Bunny Hopper's excellent guide that he made on the deck, which you can find on his YouTube channel. He talks about how Primordial Studies has become a much better keep since the introduction of the multicaster, specifically for Bunny Hopper's build of the deck. There we go. It couldn't have been illustrated more perfectly. Because Bunny Hopper can go for the multicaster to draw likely 2 cards. You're very, very likely to find Nature by the time you play it. And also it becomes better because he's got Parrot, the brilliant Macaw, in there as well, which can then double up on the effect of the multicaster. I don't think we've actually seen it from him yet, but it's a pretty powerful addition to the deck and doubles down on that card draw synergy.
Yeah, I think we saw it come to his hand on the turn he won the previous mirror in the last series, but yeah, not seen it in action as of yet. Zhao Wang, though, on the other hand, getting the quest done, but then stopping there, just hero powering this turn and calling it a day. Still has decent follow-up with that Feral Spirit, has some level of value with guidance as well. And for Bunny Hopper, probably wants to get going with this studies. He could go for Totem if he's really valuing the mana, but I think I'd value more playing this now. Got Phoenix as an option, which is something to consider going into, what would it be, turn 4?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a little awkward. Like, I don't really think you're going to get great value out of Phoenix this early in the game, and so therefore I was also leaning towards Thalnos. Like, I get that he has card draw in hand, but you know what goes great with card draw? More card draw. You just want to be able to turbo through your entire deck, find those blooms, find those guidances, and start generating some serious value to keep up. Okay.
Again, this is where those difficult decisions come up, right? Where, like, Perpetual looks like a fantastic turn, but is it too heavy on the overload? Is just Serpent Shrine good enough this turn to just kill one of the wolves, poke the taunt, and then just carry on with your day and not be massively overloaded next turn? Yeah, it's all pretty difficult because Bunny Hopper hasn't done any overload yet, so it's not as if this Perpetual will get unlocked by the quest finish.
I'm genuinely just unsure. Like, everything I worked through doesn't feel great. I guess Serpent Shrine does feel the least awkward of all the options available, because, again, if you're going for the Perpetual Flame before you're able to get the first level of quest completion on it, you always feel sad. Like, skipping an entire turn in this matchup is often just too much in the early game, especially when you've just used your comeback mechanism in the Perpetual Flame. And so going for it here and instead, the portal here and saving the Perpetual Flame to try and complete the quest within a couple turns time is, I think, very smart.
There it is, Derek.
Ooh. Kaka.
Is it a pandemonium of parrots? Is that the collective term?
Let's find out. I haven't heard that particular one.
Okay.
It is. Good job.
Oh, is it? Okay.
That's a
nice.
good one.
It's not relevant. I just threw it out there, but it is cool to know what the groupings of animals are called, because they're always interesting.
Lovely pickup for Bunny Hopper here, because now I am obviously tempted by the idea of going Note Taker Guidance, but man, maybe you actually don't even need to go for that anymore. I know it's sacrilegious to not suggest you don't go for the pairing of Note Taker and Guidance when they're so powerful, but he's just got so much draw now, so much value. He just needs to make sure he's not falling too far behind on tempo, and he will probably be okay.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I'm at a point now where I'm looking at yet again at Perpetual Flame because he has Overdraft, right? So... Oh, sorry, that's his third. It's me being dumb. I thought that was his second. Never mind, Perpetual Flame's well good. Yeah, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
This just looks solid. I thought with the Overdraft, you know, you could get away with like recovering it in that way as a worst case scenario. But yeah, never mind. Of course, if it's on the third, that's just good. Get that quest progression done because neither player has really gone for like any of those aggro openings yet, and there's no charge call been played, and this is about as aggro as it's going to get from Zhao Wang right now. So Bunny Hopper can make a call on how to respond.
And speaking of Xiao Wang, because I feel like we haven't been giving him his due attention this game, he is clearly so far behind on card advantage and value compared to Bunny Hopper. It's not even comparable. So for Xiao Wang, the way he needs to approach this matchup now is he can see plainly, it's staring him in the face. He is running out of stuff, and Bunny Hopper is not anywhere close to running out of stuff. So how does he turn that into a win? The answer is Charge Call and Wind Fury. He needs to go aggro and try and go for a kill nice and quick, overwhelm his opponent with this board now that Perpetual Flame has been used. And it's, I'm going to say, a slightly lower than 50% chance to win the matchup, but it can definitely get there if he gets himself a good minion off the call.
Yeah, and what sort of mana? I know, especially when Charge Call first came out, there's a lot of discussion of what mana cost you go for for a tempo Charge Call, so to speak. What have you been liking lately here? Like, obviously depends on how high you can go in any relevant time, but any big favors between 5 and 6 drops? Is 7 worthwhile? Is 4 good enough in a desperate, sort of circumstance?
Worth considering for sure. I'm just trying to think how I would like to progress with this game plan, both keeping in mind, I should say whether you should keep in mind quest progression at all.
Like, what about now? Because the second Charge Call, just like landslide Charge Call this turn. Can't do it really now because he drew with the Thanos, but like the landslide would have got some work done, right? Wait a minute.
Landslide would have been pretty good. Yeah.
It's even more Wind Fury.
You can assemble Voltron.
Yeah, I mean Wind Fury on the Canal Slugger is 12. Like,
it's a lot, isn't it? You can just push for some
a lot.
Serious damage. Try and get there in the next few turns with generating some spells as well. We get it, 2 out of 3 on the quest as well. Hopefully we can see the board state after this moment.
Yeah, unfortunately we can't do the usual thing that happens in GM where we just talk about it enough, the producer hears and then moves the mouse or whatever for the spectators because, we're not controlling it over here. So I'm sure it'll tidy up going forward. Looks like it has been already. But tell you what, I'm already a Zhao Wang fan just because this Wind Fury go face is exactly the type of play I like to see from someone.
Oh, yes. And so now Bunny Hopper does have plenty of ways, however, that he can respond with spell damage in play, a couple ways to get overloaded here, and 3 copies of Overdraft if he should need it. He can, of course, very, very happily clear up this Wind-Furied Canal Slogger, and from there I think he'll be in a very pleasant position.
Okay, so just looking for that bloom's a pretty big deal actually. Can open up some more of these options with this Overdraft and be able to clean this up. What is the parrot even on now? I've kind of lost track. Is it still the card draw?
I think so, right? Here for Bunny Hopper. I think here, if I'm correct, he's sent me a couple of messages. I think he was having connectivity issues here, which is why he seems to be pretty upset. His cards were not properly playable. He said that he would rather have played the charged call again on a 15-minute delay. He's messaged me, I would imagine, after this game is finished. It sucks to see because quite clearly going for the charged call there was just so much extra tempo, so much extra stuff on board. And this game plan is just leaving himself miles behind on board. And it's just not what we know Bunny Hopper would do. It's not what Bunny Hopper is capable of, because he is the master of this deck, as I've said so many times. And it sucks to see him hamstrung in this way.
Yeah, this is rough, right? Because you can just already see, because of that, the game has very rapidly slipped away, right? Like we can already see the burn damage there. There was just less options that Bunny Hopper realistically had. He's going to go for Charge Call now and hope to get something important. There's Sneed, but unfortunately it's a Battle Cry, so not really going to be the best here. There's Sottle's 8 mana 0/0. You see on the far right as well. So not too great outcomes there. Nothing that can potentially dig him out. And now he doesn't even have any kind of way to realistically boost the mana to try and go again from the Note Taker's Charge Call, right?
Yeah, more reconnectivity issues. Unfortunately, again, getting in the way of Bunny Hopper's plays, and that does mean that in the end, it's just going to be lethal for Xiao Wang, coming in with the 5 damage from the dunk tank as well. It means that Bunny Hopper does take the L 2-0 up now to Team China and to Xiao Wang after beating both the Pirate Warrior and the Shaman. And as we've been talking about, the winner of these Shaman mirrors just feels like they're in such a dominant position for the rest of the series, with this having huge implications for both Europe and, of course, APAC as well, as they want China to win every single game from here on in. If China earn 1 of the 3 available points left today, 1 for Constructed, 2 for Mercenaries, then they see themselves in the top 3 guaranteed, and it will be APAC finishing in 4th place, unable to advance through to the final day. And it's an unfortunate way to see it go down, but as far as we can tell, that is just the win to China, and 1 game away now from winning the series.
Yeah, huge deal as well, because if China finish this, which feels likely just because even if they lose the Shaman, they get to just counterpick twice if they can to an extent. So it feels very likely they are going to take the victory overall. That puts not necessarily pressure on Huntrace and Tice for Mercenaries, but it must give the boost to the Mercenaries team for China. And I do think the Chinese Mercenary team are very strong. And honestly, I think the EU team is weaker in Mercenaries overall. So that must light the spark for China, right, if they can get a win here in Constructed. But we are just going to jump to a very brief break while we set up the next game for you guys. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We are back and ready to dive into the what could be the final game of this series if Zhao Wang can take it in a pretty fantastic and much needed sweep for Team China. I'm pretty sure if he wins this, he'll just be instantly deemed even more of a hero than he already is for Team China, as this is simply needed as a victory here. He's going up against a Baby Bear, though, and although we know Shaman is very good against aggro, Derek, Druid is capable of fantastic things with the right opening.
That's right, and capable of some very some real creativity, I'll say, in the early game plans, or at least giving you the ability to demonstrate a depth of knowledge in terms of how the early game should be played. Because when things get a little bit later on, you either have a composting game where you have 1,000,000 cards and just play as much as you can each turn, or you don't have a composting game, in which case you just draw for Park Panther and hope to cheese out a lethal that way. But these early turns are very, very important. Whether or not you play for tempo and just go minion, minion, minion at the start of the game and hope that that gets there, or hold up for these bigger combos later on, is very skill testing indeed. And I look forward to see how Baby Bear approaches this one. I will say, though, that for Xiao Wang, this starting hand for him is just fantastic. Double guidance for a whole bunch of value, tempo with the Feral Spirits, and then, of course, the removal with the Perpetual Flame as well. It's everything you could ask for.
It really is, yeah. And although it looks like not impactful right now, just look again in a few turns' time, right? It will change quite dramatically. Meanwhile, Baby Bear does have the Battle Guard, does have a Park Panther, and has ways to generate some value, but it's just, is it going to be enough? It's a pretty solid opening, considering the matchup. So we'll see how Baby Bear approaches it. Just going to buff that Treant, get the trade on that totem, and just build a bit of a board up, a potential composting.
That's right, but you'd have to imagine that Xiao Wang isn't going to let that happen anytime soon. 3 minions on board, that's more than scary enough. And especially when he can go for the trifecta of overload right now if he wants to, with Wolves, Bloom, and then the Perpetual Flame to end it out. Complete the first level of quest, get a couple 2-3s online, and clear the board. And he then has value to follow up. It's not like he's just splurging his entire hand and will be left with nothing to do. It's the perfect start to the game for a quest shot.
So already now, like you say, Zhao Wang just very far ahead with already having just these 2 Feral Spirits on board. What is the plan here for Baby Bear? Coin Park Panther immediately sticks out, right? Just being able to clear up these 2 and just not only wrestle board away, but have a Park Panther, right?
Yeah, that is the big benefit of playing Park Panther. You get a Park Panther. And yeah, I think this is really the only play that keeps Baby Bear in the game. It's obviously a fantastic draw to get. And if she can get herself another 1-drop and this Park Panther isn't cleared off, then maybe we could look at a composting on the following turn to pull things back. Xiao Wang gets himself Feral Spirits, which is good. You're probably just going to take that, but he could go for a gamble if he wanted to and try and find a better outcome in the second guidance in the form of either Overdraft or Lightning Bolt. I think would be the 2 good options to be able to kill off this Panther. But he just takes the steady play. It's good. It's not amazing. It is going to get cleared off. And it does therefore mean that Baby Bear can just go for a triple composting on this turn. It's very simple, with summoning a 2/2 and the Peasant and then drawing 3 cards. But somehow, despite Xiao Wang's blisteringly fast start, Baby Bear is actually still in this game.
Yeah, and this is it, right? Like, again, you can never, until the portrait explodes, you just can't count Druid out because of turns like this. I mean, look at this, right? Even hitting the mules means that there's more options of going wide for low mana, and there's 2 card draws still left on the board for Baby Bear. So weirdly enough, just because we can see the hands, of course, I feel like it's almost beneficial for Zhao Wang not to clear these minions this turn. But then the problem there is one of those minions is a Peasant, which is drawing additional cards anyway. So it's just a bad situation for Zhao Wang right now. But again, with Shaman, there are always ways to come back. And even with the Runic Carving that's available for him next turn, that can help even up the board state if Baby Bear does go wide.
Well, you say Runic Carving's available next turn. The I'm seeing the lines, the possibilities blossom out before me, and if my maths is correct here, I'm thinking you can go Zapper Bolt on this turn here, which will leave you with 3 mana available next turn. Bloom Brucan, which will leave you with 6 mana available the turn after. Oh no, my maths is wrong. That will leave you with 5 mana the turn after. Okay, ignore me. Basically, you get Brucan down. You can't go for the runic carvings. But the point is, you're able to get that 7/7 online and double up on any of your cheaper spells along the way, which does then firmly plant Xiaowang back in that favorable position.
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of resources here for Baby Bear, but what is the plan? Well, clearly it's not going to be Greybow right about now, since the hero power is going to be used up. Looks like it's going to be an almost 2-wave plan, right? Of just get a Battle Guard in this out now, and then still have basically a very similar play ready for next turn.
Okay, not a bad card to have post Brucan for more zappers, mini mage, Thalnos for draw, guild trader to draw a different card from your deck with the tradable effects. All just all good. Any spell that Xiaowang can get here, he's happy with.
Okay. Again, is this the point where Baby Bear tries to work in this Greybow, or do you think the fact that Park Panther can just take care of Brucan by itself, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Will be enough, because she can still follow up with additional buffs after that. Can also drop like an adorable infestation to maybe help out with potential AoE, say on the Battle Guard, for example.
Yeah. I mean, you've got 2 branching lines here as I see it. You've got the Panther line, which I think was very valid. And the other benefit of going for the Panther line is it preserves your combo for the potential top deck of Oracle of Elune, so that you can still then go Oracle Battle Guard plus your Greybow. But the downside of that is you have then not played Greybow, which is so much more significantly powerful in the immediacy than going for Park Panther, because who cares if Brucan can swing into it here? It's just going to come back straight away as soon as your minions start trading in. And so I think I like this from Baby Bear. I think it's good recognition that saving the combo is good, but if it comes at the expense of not playing Greybow for like 3-4 turns until you find the Oracle, it probably just becomes not worth it again.
Yeah, punching a tree has never gone well in the past, has it? So I completely agree with your point. Greybow looking like it's going to be stacking up, and oh, those are some cards, Derek. Composting there, such a big deal.
Yeah, composting is just exactly what Baby Bear was after. Now all of a sudden she can start moving towards some really powerful combos again. The Oracle, the Teacher's Pet to go with the big double 5-drop taunt play. Arbor up as soon as that found is fantastic. Even sow the soil, sow the seeds, whatever it is, for the plus attack is also huge. Because she's going to start needing some power plays, make no mistake, with all these massive totems coming in to close out the game of all things. It's going to be closer than it may have initially appeared.
Yeah, I really like this trade as well, just getting Greybow active again, because obviously the few trades would have to go into the taunts that already existed. So get Greybow on board, it's more stats. I think clearly Baby Bear's gone beyond the point of needing a Battle Guard, and if she really does, she's got another one in hand anyway. So nice trade there, good setup. There are these totems staring down the board, but are they going to be enough? Got some good card draw available for Xiaowang, but is 4 mana reliably enough to get something done with that? I'm not sure.
I think so, right? Because you can double up on Perpetual Flame, you can double up on the Landslide that's still in deck as well, that China have teched into their Shaman, which has just been far and away the standout card for this on this deck for them. He does, however, miss on all the big removal, so we'll have to rely, quote-unquote, on 3 mana, summon 2 7/7 Taunt, Death Rattle, summon another 7/7 Taunt. That's pretty good.
I would file that under pretty good, yeah, that is correct. And now there's backup, right? I think that's the big thing here. Zhao Wang has like evened up, or arguably overcompensated on this board, and he has backup now with the lightning bolts, spell damage. If he draws a single AoE spell, this board from Baby Bear just gets absolutely obliterated.
And Baby Bear is just doing the absolute best job she can, which is a good job. You know, she can go for, you might have to overdraw a couple of cards along the way here in order to clear board space. You just don't care, whatever. You need to go Oracle plus the... You go Oracle plus Druid of the Reef first, right? And then you sack off 2 of the Druid of the Reefs to get 6 damage out. Then you can still go for Battle Guard plus the Teacher's Pet as well, after sacking away probably your Greybow, or maybe one of your 1 or 2 drops as well. I agree with this.
Yeah, looks like she's trying to just bring the board down as low as possible, which is why there's minimal if zero effort of trying to kill this second taunt, right? It's just get 1/7/7 fully off board here. Oh, she's gonna go for it. Okay. I was a little bit surprised by that. I thought it would just 1 additional taunt would kind of achieve the same thing without taking more damage.
I think I like just sinking the damage while you have it, because her hero's not going to have that damage next turn, obviously. And while you are afraid of burst from hand, you're losing the game on so many fronts right now. You need to just pick one that you're going to get lucky on. And with a fist pump from Zhao Wang, I think that looks like enough burst from hand to be able to get there, or at the very least, just a double down on the landslide as well, obliterating Baby Bear's board, easily pushing for lethal. And in a huge upset of a series here, Zhao Wang goes 3-0 on the Shaman. Again, for the second time today, we see Shaman completely sweeping, cementing itself as the king of this particular format, and cementing China away from that bottom spot. They are now guaranteed top 3 as they try and move forward to steal that first place spot from the Americas.
Yeah, what a hero moment and hero play there for Zhao Wang, right? Like, if there's anything you want to do in such a big team tournament like this, is like pretty much single-handedly pull your team out of disaster, and that's what he managed there. So, congratulations to him and the rest of the team, of course. I do think Team EU played very well in both series. I just think this Shaman that we've very quickly discovered over the course of this tournament is just in this format where combo decks don't exist. This Shaman is such a contender for just the best deck out of this selection. So although decks like Druid look really aggressive, we saw the Hunter picks sometimes get it done versus Shaman as well. Overall, I just think Zhao Wang has played really well, and just a great victory for him as he goes 3-0.
Very well done indeed. It obviously starts to beg the question as to whether or not Shaman should have been banned more as the tournament goes on, but then obviously if you're banning Shaman instead of Mage, they have the Mage to counter your Shaman, which is a pretty hard counter to the Shaman. That's a really tough matchup to go for. So even though it has just been an absolute terror, I think quite clearly, as the players will have realized, you just have to try and hope to win the mirror. Maybe you can squeak in a win with the Face Hunter, as we've seen is not too poor of a matchup because of the high amount of burn and the relatively low amount of healing for Shaman, unless you can hit a couple of sloggers. Overall, it just means that it's a very, very good matchup and a good format for the Quest Shaman, which means a great format for Zhao Wang, who is doing his team proud, continuing his role as the shining star of the Chinese constructed players. He's had the best result in a Masters Tour of late, and he's now carrying the team out of the bottom spot through to the top 3 as well. So I'm sure he'll be absolutely elated, as he should be. I think he played some very good Hearthstone.
Yeah, really, really strong series overall there from both sides, right? And I think it's just cool to watch this sort of mini tournament meta develop. Like I said, what does the world look like? It's that true what-if scenario. What if combo decks just didn't existed? And this is the episode for that. So it's pretty cool to see that evolve and just see this Quest Shaman really get work done. Again, if you are watching this and think this deck looks sick, it is. I'm going to queue it on ladder. Just remember, you don't get to ban the combo decks on ladder, so you might run into some tougher matchups that you've been seeing on stream. But that is it for the constructed portion of the day and of the first 3 days of the tournament now, because the way the day will end is the top 3 teams will get to play tomorrow. First place finish will go straight to the finals. Second and third will start the day tomorrow in a sort of playoff to see who joins first place in the finals overall. So still a lot to get through and a lot of Hearthstone coming up over the next day and a bit. But for now, we are going to go to a break because there is still Mercenaries to come up a little bit later on.